So you're quarantined to your house and the walls are starting to close in on you and you just can't take it anymore. I am the Game Collector and this is Second Opinion Games. And today I'm going nuts.
Second Opinion Games.
It seemed pretty fitting to start things off with Mr. Nutz. This is one of those 90s mascot platformers that never seemed to gain much momentum, even though this one's actually really good. You could jump and throw nuts that you happen to pick up along the way. If you don't have any nuts, well, you can't really throw them now, can you? And you can run. The controls feel a little bit floaty, but luckily you have plenty of lives, checkpoints, and even a health bar to help you along your way. There's also plenty of parallax scrolling on top of the gorgeous graphics. Mr. Nutz starts off easy enough, just moving to the right to get to the exit, but it won't be too long before you have to traverse the entire level, moving in and out, trying to find the way out, and picking up plenty of nuts along the way. When you come to a boss battle, well then you better believe it's going to be something special, with general puzzles to figure out on how to take these baddies out. And the first one's a pretty gross spider at that. Yeah, Mr. Nutz has a lot of balls, and if you have nuts, well, then you have balls. So let's jump into a ball game. On the ball for the Super Nintendo. If you ever played Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and got into the mini stage at the very end of a level, well then you know exactly what you're getting yourself into with this game. You control a ball, or more like the world around the ball, as you continuously turn it trying to get to the goal somewhere hidden in the map. Luckily there's plenty of arrows to point the way, and you can actually jump and do a few more maneuvers, but most of the time you're just tilting the world around. There might be boxes in the way, so you might as well smash them for tons of extra points. Or maybe there's some hazards that will let the clock tick down. And the clock is your major enemy in this game. It's one of those ones where some of the time carries over from level to level, so you're always trying to beat the level in the fastest possible way. So there's plenty of shortcuts that you can find to open up to make your job a lot easier, but you have to look and find them. This is also one of the very few Super Nintendo mouse games, so if you have that peripheral, well, you might as well give it a shot. If you don't have it, the controller works just fine, and you might get a little motion sickness continuously spinning the world around, but it doesn't mean you're not going to have a good time with it. On the Ball seems to be one of the best ball games for the Super Nintendo, and while we're on the subject, why don't we move on to other games with balls? Balls 3D for the Super Nintendo. This has got to be one of the worst fighting games I've ever played in my entire life. And I also played every single Atari Jaguar game, including their fighting games, so I know a thing or two about bad games. There are 2D balls in a 3D environment, and your characters are just awkward looking. Also, the sound effects here are just bananas weird, with women groaning and clowns laughing, and the girl here even has ball boobs. Yes, this is just awful. The controls are really bad too. I have a move list in front of me, and still I can't pull off any of them. And yeah, this is Balls 3D, and you know what? I gotta say, it sucks a lot of balls. But while we're on fighting games, we might as well play a good one, and hopefully there's nothing ball related in that. Mortal Kombat 1. This is the Super Nintendo version, and yeah, I know, it's not nearly as good as Mortal Kombat 2 or 3 or many of the other fighting games at the time. But you know what? It's got Johnny freaking Cage, and one of his moves is the ball Buster, where he does a split and punches people Van Damme style right in the nards. Boy, is this a satisfying move to pull off. It doesn't really do that much. It just acts as a third move for Johnny Cage because his other moves are just kind of weak. Throw in a green orby thing or a shadow kick, which you could easily just trip him because he keeps that 1 foot down, unlike Liu Kang, who has that zoom kick that's pretty powerful and really easy to pull off. So Johnny Cage was given this third move, yet it doesn't work at all against Sonya, because she's a girl and doesn't have any balls. So Johnny Cage just doesn't even try. And let's face it here, folks, even if Johnny Cage could pull this off, chances are she'll start liking it after a while, because Sonya and those girls, you know, they could really take a pounding down there. Also, I noticed that Johnny Cage doesn't try to hit himself in the balls as much as I would like to see Johnny Cage get it in the nads. And yeah, this is a pretty cool fighting game, and this is one of my favorite maneuvers to ever do in any fighting game, even if it's completely pointless. But let's jump over to the Genesis, where we could get far away from any weird stuff and crotches and anything like that.
Scorpion wins.
Michael Jackson's Moonwalker for the Sega Genesis. And this was one of the first Sega Genesis games. And you have Michael Jackson and a magic system connected to your health bar. What can that magic system do? Well, you could throw your hat to destroy some enemies, or you could have some sparkles at the ends of your fists or your kicks. And you could even hit that magic button when you're on stairs that kind of slide down and kick people in the face. What are you doing here? You're trying to rescue children. Particularly this one little girl again and again. And let's face it, guys, she is completely safe around Michael Jackson because, like I said, it's a girl. Yeah, sorry for that. In the very first level, at least, there's some other grown-up women that just keep trying to kiss you, and the way they get them off is by kicking them, so you can go back to beating up these other people that keep kidnapping the children's. And when you get all of the children's, well, then a monkey comes and jumps on your back, which that's kind of weird. Michael Jackson has to get the monkey off his back, and the only way he does is to find a whole bunch of other men, which will then dance with him if you happen to use your magic. Your magic bar is also attached to your life, and when your life gets super low, well, all of your magic runs out, and when you press that button, you will then grab your crotch and scream, "Oh!" Yeah, that's really weird. At this point in time, I like to play as pervertedly as I possibly can, running up to the different women in the stages and grabbing my crotch, and also when I collect the children's, doing the same. This makes the whole game just feel a lot more fun, and it certainly makes things a bit weirder in general. But let's jump over to the arcade version, because certainly nothing can be dirty there. Oh yeah, this is an arcade game you really gotta have to play. It's an isometric beat 'em up that plays really well. You could punch, and you could also save up a charge attack, which then fires a shot across the screen. If you're really lucky, you'll collect tons of children, which of course you know that makes Michael Jackson really happy. Also, around some of these children occasionally, well, you could find your monkey Bubbles. And when you touch the Bubbles the monkey, you turn into a mecha robot Michael, which then uses your laser beams to destroy everything. That's a little weird here, how you have to touch your monkey to get hard in front of children. That might be a little bit on the nose, or noses, or Skeletor's nose. This is a pretty good game here, but at least he's not in this game, where this type of thing happens, and this is kind of wrong. Oh my god, oh, what's that? Oh, this is very wrong! Oh, jeez! You know what, I need to play something a lot cleaner now. Let's jump back to the Super Nintendo. Castlevania X for the Super Nintendo just might be the most underrated Castlevania game of all times. Yeah, I know Rondo of Blood sound a heck of a lot better, and the controls were completely smooth. And this one, the controls are back to being a little more sluggish. You lost the ability to have your 8-directional whip from Super Castlevania 4, but that doesn't mean this is a bad game. Matter of fact, I think it's actually better than Super Castlevania 4, because now the items actually mean something, and the increased difficulty here means that you're going to be playing through it a lot longer in order to learn the ins and outs about the game. And one of my favorite things about it is today there's absolutely nothing dirty in this game. Even when I make it to Dracula himself, just falling into pits again and again, trying to survive, this is a just testament on how good I am at playing video games. And then we goes to his second form, and why is he in his underwear? A giant freaking Dracula beast vampire thing, and it just, what? This is horrible. Oh my god. Why can't I get away from this stuff? Oh, you know what? You know what? I'm done with this whole thing. I'm just gonna jump over to the PlayStation where none of this weird crap happens at all. Chowaniki for the PlayStation 1. This is an import shooter that can be only described with the words homoerotic. You can play as a giant guy that's muscular and he's in his underwear and shooting things and stuff happens. This is really, really weird. And eventually you'll come to the very first level boss where, oh my god, this is so wrong. That looks like a freaking robot dingus coming out of that guy. Oh my god. Oh, he's got another thing? And okay, that's definitely a dingus. That is most definitely a dingus. You know what, Chowaniki, this is just awful. I am done with balls. I am done with nuts. And I am done with the freaking dingus. I am just done playing video games for the rest of the day. And I'm just gonna sit in my solitary confinement and just continue to try to regain some sense of normality. So, all these games are kind of fun, except for Balls 3D, which is just awful, and I kind of recommend you play all of them, even if you will eventually break down and go insane. But of course, that's just my opinion. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I had an unbelievably great time making it because this is what I want to do for a really long time. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this April 1st because I have a couple of other videos that I made on April 1st that I want you to go back and take a look at it. And if you want me to cover some more crazy weird stuff, make sure you leave a comment down below. Let me know about the super weird stuff you want me to cover. So until later, I will see you again, guys.
Sonya wins.